up, y'all? Tarot King the Prophet back with another super late Crown King Tarot presentation, kind of, but not really. This is more about me. I've been going through some things lately, and first of all, I was about to do this reading on myself, and I wasn't even going to share it at first, but something was telling me to share it, and something's just telling me over and over again. I have already started the reading, but I've not pulled any cards except for a card out my Moonology Oracle deck and the card out my Damon Tarot deck. I I'll go ahead and read these cards to you. You know, I thought this one was like really dope so far. But anyway, let me start from the top. You know, it's just been going through some things, and I feel a little like like somebody might put a little hoodoo or something on me. You know, and so I just kind of want to get to the bottom of it. You know, to get to the bottom of what it is that's going on in my life lately, because it's just completely too amazing to have all these things going on in a consistent basis. It's just like dominoes falling. This issue hit this issue, hit this issue, hit this issue, hit this issue, and so on and so forth. And I just want to get to it. So I started out, I wasn't going to record this, and then I wasn't going to play any music, you know what I mean, or anything like that. And then I got to these Moonology Oracle card, you know, and it was the Hold Your Vision card, the Fixed Moon, and it says there are two main possibilities with this card. The first is you need to stand firm in whatever situation you're in. The second, very different interpretation, is that something is stuck that could well be referring to the situation you're asking about. If that's the case, have a think about what you can do to grease the wheel so that events move forward. Are you being stubborn? If so, that's great. Because if you really want things to change, there's a solution. Stop digging your heels in. Be the one to break the deadlock. With two interpretations for this card, it's up to you to decide what's going on and which meaning applies to you. This offers up a chance for some self-reflection. And the attuned to the moon was, yes, just say the word a lot and see how it feels. The teaching behind this card is, in astrology, there are three quadruplicities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. These fixed signs can be stubborn, so anything that's just starting as you draw this card may well last longer. Remember, we each have all the star signs in our chart. It's just the way the astrological wheel works. So there's no judgment when we say that while it's admirable how much staying power the fixed signs have, they can also be obstinate. And I don't know, I just thought that with everything that's going on, they pulled that card that says hold your vision. I mean, wow. And then this card from the Damon Tarot deck, and like I said, I wasn't gonna play no music, and I pulled Amducius. And the divination behind Amducius is focus on musical endeavors, including composing and musical inspiration. Ain't that some ironic shit? But yeah, so here we are. Anyway, those that know I use the Wildwood Tarot deck. I have a little deck and a big deck. I use the big deck to lay out the main general energy that covers the whole reading, and then the energy that goes from the past, present, and the future. And then I use the little deck to come back and clarify the past, present, and the future, and then a summary for each section. And then I use the I'm doing all right, Miss Nicole, Harold Matthews, Nikki Nick, what's going on? But I use I come back with the big deck with a final card message, with a final message from the universe. All right, been a while since I did this stuff on YouTube, but here we go. I've already shuffled. I've already said my prayer to God, to the all, and here we go. Oh, we always start that out with the card from the bottom. Three of Bows, the card of fulfillment. And mind you, I'm talking about this curse. This is what I'm trying to focus on. I don't know where the reading is going to go, but this is what I'm focused on. The Three of Bows, the card of fulfillment. This is, it's funny because you see the snakes that's on this road, you know, they're like the medical snakes, so that reminds me of healing. And then you also see the mask that's half over the person's face. It's almost like they're revealing themselves and they're not. You know what I mean? It's like they still a little bit hidden, a little bit withdrawn. They have someone or something with them, the bow, and they're waving to these other two bows, right? Um, and they're coming down a couple paths and bringing it down to one path. Y'all just don't even know how much I'm feeling this right now. You know what I mean? They're barefooted, no shoes on or nothing, and this is walking, and it kind of makes me think, for whatever reason, it made me think about the prayer that I did when before I started pulling cards, you know, and I was asking the all, was I running when you wanted me to take my time and walk, or was I walking when you wanted me to fly, you know? And that's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, there's this tree that's going all kind of wild ways in the background. You know what I mean? It has leaves all over it, you know, which to me represents not only the journey, but it represents family. You know, it represents family to me. And the way these branches are going all wild and crazy reminds me of my family up here, you know, not necessarily my immediate family, even though we are scattered all over the place. Um, but what they call it, my nuclear family. I think that's the immediate family, but whatever is the opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it reminds me of. And then that three is about divine intervention, you know, and I'm definitely feeling that. You know, I do feel like there's a lot of divine intervention going on in my life because things don't make sense. You know, things really don't make sense. I really can't believe that I'm doing this online. Just reading for myself. I think it's the first reading for myself that I've done online for me and shared it with everybody. But the things just aren't making sense, you know. And so it can't be just the natural rule or the natural way of things. It has to be some sort of intervention for things to be going the way they go. Like something has to be stepping in there and stopping. And just because it's a divine intervention does not mean that it's a positive entity. It does not mean that it's a positive thing. It's just divine. It's just more than what we are in our physical bodies. You know what I mean? It's something more outside of us. It could be an ancestor. And just because it's an ancestor does not mean it favors you. You know what I mean? Just like how you might have that auntie or that uncle or whatever that does not like you, that cousin that despises you. Same type situation, possibly. You know, I'm not saying that's what it is. It's kind of just what comes out. And since it's coming out, that's probably what it is. It's going to the past, the present, and the future. All cards right side up, and that's off rip telling me that it is what it is. In the past, we have this Ace of Bowls, which is the spark of life. You know what I mean? And that's just like being in the middle of something, being in the middle of a transition, supposedly having to transition, but not transitioning. You know, and and that makes sense to me. It makes so much sense to me just being stuck, you know what I mean? Because I've always felt like there was something that I was supposed to cross into. You know, with this being that ace, it's the beginning, it's the start of something. You know, I've always felt like there was something that I was supposed to cross into and something that I came from. You know what I mean? It's almost like I'm stuck in between lives or something like that. You know what I mean? You know how one might say that you have past lives and you know you into your next life, but it's just almost like I can't transition into what it is that I'm supposed to transition into this next life because of something from the past that was holding me back from this former life. And that's legit what I feel like. You know what I mean? Like there's some sort of doubt or something, you know what I mean? Because whatever happened, whatever's going on, is not something that was caused by this present life. No way, no how, fuck no, hell no. I mean, just the things that I've gone through, you know, just as a youth, you know what I mean? I mean, like being in a fucking coma, you know, dying at like 4 or 5 years old, and being in a coma, being brought back, being in a coma from November, from before Thanksgiving to after my birthday, January 11th, I was in a coma for 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what did I do as a 4-year-old child to ask for that? You know what I mean? To have that kind of karmic debt, you know, and then just situation after situation after situation after situation up to now. I'm 45, 40 years later, still situation after situation after situation. You know, what is it that's going on? How do you find this new beginning, Dan? How do you find that, Mr. Tarot King, Mr. Mock Dean? You know what I mean? How do you get there? You know? Um, and look, these two trees on the side, there's nothing on them. There's no leaves. And the green in them is odd. That's like bittersweet fulfillment. You know what I mean? And it makes me feel like like that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like the progress, the prosperity, the winnings, the victims, the victories, the triumphs. You know what I mean? They're all just like just bittersweet. You know what I mean? And why? Maybe possibly because in this past I'm stuck in some sort of transition. I don't know. We'll come back to that later on to clarify that. Queen of Vessels in the present. Okay. Good card to get. Good card to get. You know, it's not necessarily the strong, firm energy, but a serious energy with it being that queen. It's that not necessarily that off with your head's energy or something like that, but very capable of that. You know, with it being a vessel's energy, it's more of a humble type feeling, more of a humble type situation. Not really mentally, you know what I'm saying? Emotionally, okay, emotionally, and it makes me feel kind of like how I am. You know what I mean? Mentally, it's like, you know, I'm sparks is going off, and I'm telling myself this, telling myself that to bring myself somewhere. You know, but emotionally, it's like, okay, let me hold this in. Let me hold this in and be humble, because if not, some might pop, some might crack, right? So, yeah. Anyway, that's the salmon. That is the salmon, and he's jumping up in the air and he's coming after these little fruits that's on these trees, these little nuts. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're there, you know. And those are supposed to be like nuts of wisdom, fruits of wisdom. And the salmon is jumping up. And if you ever seen a salmon, you know, in a creek or whatever water body of water they're in, you'll see them jump up in the air. You know what I mean? They defy the laws that the fish go by. It's only so many fish that you're going to see jumping up out of the water, defying laws, doing that extra. That is so me. You know what I mean? Defying those laws, doing those extra, reaching for those fruits of knowledge, reaching for that fulfillment. And that is so me. But a salmon swims upstream to die. In tarot, death is all about a new start, starting over again, you know. Um, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe I've been going down this road, running when I'm supposed to walk, walking when I'm supposed to fly. And I really do need a tarot's death, you know, to die and to start over again and start fresh, start new. Um, they swim upstream. I'm sorry. They swim upstream and they lay eggs, and then they swim downstream to die. They swim upstream and they lay eggs, and they swim downstream to die. For whatever reason, it made me think of my children. You know, like you swim upstream for them. You set this path, you set this road, you set this way for them, and then you come back downstream to pass. You know, I never thought about it like that, but that's just real shit. You know, you do everything that you can to get to the top for your children and make things right for them, and then you bring it back down and you create this new start for yourself. We'll see where we go with that. In the future, we have the Archer, the 7. It's a major arcana. And you see all this green and orange on her. You know, she has this, these characters are meant to be androgynous. You know what I mean? There's no male or female, but clearly this, look like a woman in this picture. But you never know. But the green has a lot to do with fulfillment, and the orange has a lot to do with desire. And you see him pointing that arrow, and it's about going after that, chasing after that, focusing, aiming, and taking your shot. You have strength, you have power, all that right there on the side, and it's just like really going after what it is that you want. Obviously, if you're wearing the armor of fulfillment and desire, then there is a sense of having what you want and still moving forward, still taking your shot, moving forward. Okay? All right, let's get into some clarifications. I've already drugged this out. But once again, this reading is for me. It's not for particularly anybody else. And it's really just about getting through this feeling of that I may have something on me. I may have some sort of curse or something like that on me. So we're going to see. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. I already shuffled these cards. I don't know what I'm shuffling for. Uno, dos, tres. Look at there, look at there, look at there. Now, mind you, the main general energy is the 3 of bows. It's an action card about starting out that journey, taking 2 roads, bringing it down the one road, finding your fulfillment, right? And I'll point out why I said that again in a minute. The past energy is the Ace of Bows, the spark of life. Okay, so first, to clarify, we have the 4 of Stones in reverse, card of protection. We have the 2 of Stones, right side up, the card of challenge, and we have the, look at there, the 3 of Bows, right there, following. So remember, I was saying in this past energy that I feel like I've just been stuck in the middle of transition. I'm coming from one place, it's another place that I'm supposed to be going to, but it's like going to find something to eat and not knowing what the fuck it is that you want to eat. You come from this one place, you know what I mean? You're able to go get this food, you're able to go get something to eat, but you just don't know what the fuck it is that you want to eat. It's kind of how I feel. But with this 4 of Stones right here, it's like, it's not, I'm not protecting something false. Like there's something very, very real going on. You know what I mean? But with that 4 being in reverse, it's like being ungrounded. You know what I mean? Once again, just not sure. Right, this is like, right here, it's just like trying to protect yourself. You know what I mean? But you got, does it look like that deer is protected? No, it doesn't. You know what I mean? So right here, it's like not trying to, maybe that's the problem, not trying to protect myself, but not trying to protect my heart, not trying to protect my soul, when I should have been trying to protect something. And since I didn't protect these things, I move on to this 2 of Stones right here. And the 2 is about choices, decisions. You know what I mean? And somewhere down the road, there came up these obstacles, these challenges, being on 2 different foundations, because that's the same person. You know what I mean? It's just like fighting yourself. But am I myself fighting myself now, or am I myself fighting my past self or my future self, or is it my past self fighting my future self, or what is it? You know what I mean? But it's something that has to do with fighting myself and this fulfillment, once again, just all around me in this picture. You know what I'm saying? And I keep saying me, like it's me in those pictures, because that's how I feel. But there's fulfillment all the way around. Having choices, making decisions, but these decisions, it's like choosing to face these challenges. You see what I'm saying? But in this past, it's still that the situation of going to find fulfillment and So remember, I was talking about taking 2 paths and bringing it down to one path. Remember, I said that. I just so happened to mention that, and then I also said something about being on two different foundations. You know what I mean? So in this past, with that card of fulfillment being the last card being pulled, it's like bringing those two foundations into one foundation. You know what I mean? Trying to heal, trying to um, move forward on this journey, but at some point trying to protect something. Why? Because you got this robe on with healing, and you got your face half covered and half uncovered. You know what I mean? And you're taking that one step. You're taking that one step. You know, and I feel like that wouldn't be important. It wouldn't be shown if it wasn't important. You know, you got that tree going to crazy different places. You know, you got a little bit of orange going on there, but you got a little silver there too. You know what I mean? And that silver makes me feel like you're looking for that silver lining. You know, like it's about that silver lining. That orange is desire. You have desire what it is that you want, but there's no green. This is the card of fulfillment. But the fulfillment is what it is that you're looking for, and you're looking for it in other entities. In other entities, that's where these two bows coming from. That's where this bow right here that you holding on to come from, because you're holding on to something and you're trying to find fulfillment in these other entities, but you keep finding yourself being humble, looking at the silver lining in the dark clouds. But in all actuality, the fulfillment is all around. It's all around. And you're on this dry ass path trying to find this fulfillment in others. Let's go to the present. Have this 5, the ancestor, the 8 of vessels in reverse, the card of rebirth, and the 4 of bows right side up, the card of celebration. And mind you, the energy that we're going off of for the present is this salmon swimming upstream, jumping out the water, reaching for those fruits of wisdom, of knowledge, going to lay those eggs, setting that standard, swimming upstream, setting that standard to lay those eggs for some prosperous children to hatch, going back downstream to revive, to pass and live again, be born again, because in tarot, dying is starting all over again. So we have the ancestor. It's funny, I was speaking about ancestors earlier, being all in your shit, you know. But it's like they have this lesson that it is that they want to teach, you know what I mean? And it's about following your roots and remembering where it is that you came from. But where is it exactly did one come from? Where exactly is it that I came from? Because I never really learned much about where I came from my present family. You know, not from the elders, not nobody. I didn't learn from anything. And you see, it's cold all around there. It's cold all around them. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like how I feel about these relatives. I kind of feel cold around them, alone, empty. You know what I mean? Looking for these roots, where it is that they came from. You know what I mean? And then we as people, me as a person, I'm made up of so many entities, of so many people. Think about this. I got 2 parents. Each of them have parents. So that's 4 grandparents. So that's 6 people I've come from so far. Each of them have parents. So that's 16 great grandparents. So that's 16, and what did I say? 22 people I've come from so far. Each of them have parents. So you double that number. Each of them have parents. You double that number. And you keep on, so on and so forth. And that's blood. That's blood family. And each of them have a part of the blood that flows inside of your body, inside of you. Now, this is crazy because it just hit me. It just hit me, this next card. Remember, I was saying that you go down and You go to swim downstream to die in tarot. And this card right here is the Eight of Vessels, the card of rebirth. Okay? And it's in reverse. And it kind of just makes me feel like that rebirth is actually, because it's a beautiful card right side up, but and I feel like in this situation it's a beautiful card in reverse. You know what I mean? Because this rebirth is like coming back as something different. You know what I mean? A brand new, for real, brand new start. Not the chance to do it all again, but the chance to do something new, to do something different, which definitely falls into this next card. The Four of Bowls, right side up, the card of celebration. You know what I mean? And if you see, it's the Four of Bowls. You see four bows. You see four women with four bows. You see five women. Four of them have bows. One doesn't, but they're not missing anything. It's a bunch of abundance down here. It's more desire down there. And they're dancing. They're having a good time. Now, once again, fulfillment is missing. Fulfillment is missing like a motherfucker. You know? And it's funny because the main energy is the card of fulfillment, but it's been missing this whole past, this whole present. It's pictured. It's a little muggy green in the past. You know what I mean? Like some bittersweet shit, and some green in the present. You know, but you got to reach for it. It's not just there. You know what I mean? You got to be that silent, jumping up at the water and reaching for it. And then right here, there's none of that there, but there's a bunch of abundance. There's a bunch of riches and golds and shit like that, you know. But I was just telling somebody earlier that I'm not the type of person, when I pray, I don't pray for cars and houses and luxurious things. I pray for real shit. I pray for strength, abundance, faith. I pray for my children. I pray for you. I pray for me. Life, love, energy. I pray for these kind of things. I don't pray for cars and houses and shit. I don't pray for that. You know what I mean? And when I said it, I found it strange that I don't, because those are the major, so-called major things in our lifetime, in our generations. You know what I mean? People had to have a house, had to have a car, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know, maybe those things just come, you know, what it is, what I want, you know what I mean? But why do I pray so much for strength? Why do I pray for strength when life shouldn't be about survival? It shouldn't be about having to be strong, you know what I mean? But maybe that's learned behavior, because it's what I've always had to be. I've always had to be strong, you know? Maybe. So, in the future, we go back there, we had that archer, and bam, now the archer has on that green and he has on that orange. The archer has some fulfillment. And maybe that is what's coming for me in the future. It's fulfillment. And mind you, let's reverse this whole thing. This is about me feeling like maybe I have a curse on me. You know, and this past definitely speaks volumes to that. You know, maybe it's not a curse. Yeah, maybe it is a curse, but it definitely has a lot to do with being stuck in this transition. It has a lot to do with having the money to go get some food, but not knowing what the fuck it is that I want to eat. So I'm just riding around hungry. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just riding around hungry. Maybe this future is about something. We got this strength, we got this power, we got the aim for something. And what I say I pray for strength. But along with this strength, I have power, I have desire, white arrows, I have peace, white dogs, I have peace. Damn, I need that. 7, the number of heaven and earth. So we got the wheel, we have in reverse the seer, and we have the 5 of stones. Okay, So this wheel, this is about completion, you know. This is also about, we had that one and that zero, it's a new beginning. I was talking about that. Remember, we died in a Tarot's death and came back, rebirth, something completely different, completely different. And we have that zero, which is the number of the all, the number of God. All right, the number of power, for real, true, real power. And look at that wheel. It's like a zero. It's like power. You know, you had the sun and the moon. Ah, that just made me feel some kind of way, because those that realize that the sun and the moon are actually out during the day at the same time. And then when it goes dark, the other moon prevails and shows its face, and it's out by itself with no sun. I ain't even gonna get off into the whole, if the sun is on the other side of the earth, how does it illuminate the moon and all that shit. I'm not even gonna get off into all that. Yeah, weird. Anyway, there's a lot of green in here, a lot of fulfillment. We got these trees, and they have leaves and everything all around them, and the branches. And that's so crazy. Like these branches. See those branches and those trees? They're crazy as fuck. But they're not so crazy in there. You know what I mean? And it's almost like, got these swans in here, this water, a lot of blue in there. But it's not like the blue like blues blue. You know what I mean? It's more calming. You know, I think it's more leading to that peace. And that sun and that moon being out all the times makes me feel like balance. And you know, it's crazy because I don't feel like that all the time when I talk about these cards, when I talk about these things. And it's amazing that I can look at these cards and have different things to say after all of this time. You know, but once again, we talk about me in this situation. We got the seer in reverse. You know, and this orange is it's a lot of orange in there, different shades of the orange. Like I want to say like the feathers and all that shit is brown and all that. It's a lot of feathers in there, so there's a lot of spirituality going on in there. You know, I think for whatever reason, because this is about intuition, gut feeling, or something like that. But for whatever reason, I feel like this is about letting something go, letting something spiritual go. With all these feathers and shit up in here, and I've never thought about that. I've never thought about that. And look at this tree. This tree is like old and dead. You know what I mean? And once again, I feel like in this reading, trees have a lot to do with journeys. You know, it has a lot to do with a journey, and it has a lot to do with family. You know, and I don't know why that keeps coming up in here. You know, but look at these trees all the way in this past. They look all murky and shit too. You know, I almost said Mercury. That's crazy because, you know, and that's the planet of communication. I'm so thirsty. Um, but this is not about following your intuition in this situation, or maybe it is. But it being in reverse, maybe it's about going outside of the box or following your intuition, looking at things way more than what they are. You know what I mean? Following your intuition and then some, then going further than that, you know. But right here, we got this five of stones, and see that lightning strike right there? It's in the shape like of a person. You know what I mean? And that makes me think of the universe, not the all, but the universe. You have a negative and you have a positive. A negative and a positive. And I think the positive is the all. I think the negative is the universe. You know what I mean? I think they all have a hand in controlling you, between the all, the universe, and the divine. Okay? Ooh, showed off them little ashy knuckles. But I think they all have a hand in controlling what it is that you do, and they also have a hand in allowing you to do whatever it is that you want to do. You see what I'm saying? They all step back like, I'm not gonna take care of that. I'm not gonna do this, nothing on there. Hey, don't y'all do nothing. Hold on, y'all. Don't y'all do nothing. Let's see what this motherfucker do. You know what I'm saying? And I think it comes down to that. But I think this is also the card of endurance. 5 is the number of man, the number of instability in my readings. And I feel like this is about stepping outside of one's comfort zone and starting a fire, which makes sense because I just said something about following your intuition and then taking it a step further. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you follow your intuition and you kind of find yourself stagnant. You find yourself stuck with whatever your intuition tells you. You know, and one thing that I've realized lately, you know, is that I do need to follow my intuition a little bit more strongly. You know, I have been lacking when it comes to following my intuition, and maybe these curses is on me because of me, you know, because I'm not doing my dance, I'm not keeping my vision, and I'm not following my intuition, you know, because every time I turn around, I'm saying, damn, I thought about that shit too when I just didn't do it. You know, like a couple weeks ago, my semi truck, I left it parked in the truck stop and somebody hit it, you know. But before I left my truck, I thought about plugging my camera up and leaving my camera on and running. You know, I only left it there overnight, you know, and I thought about it like, man, plug your camera up and leave it running, but I never did. And bam, my motherfucking truck got hit. You know, what else did I do? I just did something just recently, like today. You know, whatever it was though, it's the exact same type situation. I found myself like, damn, I thought about that shit too. I should have did that shit. You know, and I'm always doing that. So following my intuition and then taking it a step further to seal it, to seal the deal. Let's go into some summaries. Dos, tres. This is beautiful because in the past we had this Ace of Bows in reverse. Remember, the main energy was about being stuck in a transition. This is about getting out of that transition, ending that segment, moving on from that past. And I don't even really think that I'm in this present yet because of that, because of that shit, because of this past. And it's funny, I just made a post talking about, what did I say? I'm sorry, y'all, I got to get to this. I got to. Because I just made this post talking about the past. I don't know who needs to hear this, but your past isn't something to hide or be ashamed of. It's part of who you are in your journey to healing. Your journey to healing. It's part of who you are in your journey to healing. But I don't even think I'm in this present yet that we're talking about in this tarot reading. I might just be stepping a foot into it at this point, at this right now. You know what I'm saying? But prior to this past is talking about moving out of a transition, picking a side, riding around with that money in my pocket, not knowing what I want to eat, but then I want some KFC. You know, it just like hit you, you know, knowing what it is that I want to eat. I want some world buffet, Chinese chicken in this joint, hibachi, boy. You know, and ending that cycle, ending that not knowing what's next, just running around here, entrepreneurship this, entrepreneurship that, and just accepting something that is for me, because deep down inside I feel like I know what's for me. I just haven't gone for it. You know, it's like I've avoided it like it's bad or something. But perception is a motherfucker. What's bad to you might not be bad to me. What's bad for you might not be bad for me, you know? And it might not be bad. It's just bad to you. Or it just might not be what I look at as right, was good, as mature. You know, I remember back in middle school, I used to sell cinnamon toothpicks, you know, and then I grew out of that. Imagine if I had never stopped selling those cinnamon toothpicks. I'd be the cinnamon toothpick man at 45 years old. Somebody somewhere made a fortune off of fucking cinnamon toothpicks. You know what I'm saying? And so, that being said, maybe at some point in time I had the right idea. I just didn't focus on it and I just didn't run with it. You know, and then I keep running into these challenges, you know what I mean, not protecting myself, which is fine. You know what I mean? But I find, excuse me, finding, trying to find fulfillment in others, walking away from family because the shit is wild and crazy in the background. You know what I mean? But instead of being out here in this grass, I find that I took two paths and brought it down to one path. That's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? But all the grass, all the fulfillment is over there on the side. How can you even get grounded with the earth and some dry ass dirt? Step over into that green grass and get grounded with the earth. Dan, Tarot King, Mach Dean, the prophets. Coming to the present, there's two arrows. It's about having choices. You see what I'm saying? But it's about knowing the difference of an ounce of gold and an ounce of feathers. Yeah, they weigh the same. Yes, they do weigh the same. But what is an ounce of gold to an ounce of feathers? Better yet, what is an ounce of feathers to an ounce of gold? Nothing. An ounce of gold to an ounce of feathers is a lot. You can get something with an ounce of gold. Who's going to take an ounce of feathers as payment? Besides Cyrus. If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? You know, they say your heart ain't supposed to weigh more than a feather in order to pass through those gates. Um, this has a lot to do, for whatever reason, to me, because I never say this about this card, but it has a lot to do with intuition. Because look at this person blindfolded, and they're crossing their heart, hoping to die with those arrows. One step forward, one foot forward, just like in that managing energy. One foot forward. Now I lay me down to rest. Now they lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Somebody just told me today that I need God, that I need to bring God back into my life. And to me, I already have God in my life, but I understand what it is that they're saying. I know what it is that they're talking about, you know, and maybe they're right. You know, I've been so fixated the last couple of days on Jeremiah 14:14, and God is saying, like, I didn't ask these people to come speak for me. I didn't ask these people to represent me, you know, and so for me, it's like, where do I find God? Because I've always wanted to find God, but where do I find God at? You know, in my heart. But heart is a rhetorical thing. You know what I mean? Because we don't really feel with our actual hearts. We don't love through our actual heart. It's actually a mental thing, you know? So one of by heart they mean brain, conscience. And that's where you find God at, in your conscience. Yeah. And that too there, having those decisions, having those choices to make. You know, the road to go down. This rebirth right here. Maybe I become something amazing in this present. Maybe it's not a curse at all. It's just about choices, decisions, which seems simple, but I'm not an idiot. I'm a very smart man. And to me, I feel like I go down roads that people have been successful in. And I'm not complaining, I'm not tripping. Yeah, a little bit I am. You know what I mean? But I go down these roads that people have been successful in, and it's almost like, where's my success? Why does it work for them but not for me? How do I go so hard at this and then I have something dumb take the shit away from me? What's going on, Benny? How do I have something so dumb take the shit away from me? You know, not to put y'all all in my shit. This is my reading, y'all all in my shit. But just like the truck hit my truck, you know what I mean? My truck been in the shop with a part on back order for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. I still pay a truck note on my truck. You know what I mean? So, in all actuality, that put me behind on my truck. And then the doctor is talking about my health and wanted me to take a sleep study. And so the people that I have my truck signed up under don't want me to drive my truck until I get this sleep study. But this can be another month out. So that's a month and another 2.5 weeks. And his time, that ours. I mean, however you break that down, family, however you explain that, you know, maybe you can elaborate on some of that. You know, sound good, but you know, like, what are you really saying? You know, I get it to an extent, but how do you do that? You know, but so that's a month and another 2.5 weeks on top of that of just downtime. With that, I lose. You know, I lose. So it's like, how does that happen? How is that my fate every time I come around? You know, it's something else. It's something that I'm supposed to go for that I haven't gone for. And with this rebirth right here and this salmon right here, I kind of feel like I'm legit supposed to let all that just go right now. You know, $30-some thousand into my truck payment and all that. It's a $100,000 truck. And I'm supposed to just let all that shit go right now and start over and do something again. Coming to this future, we have this King of Vessels in reverse. The King, very, very strong, very, very positive energy, very, very firm energy. It's in reverse. This is the bird of sight, the bird of seeing what's next, you know, and maybe there is nothing next after this next chapter, you know, which don't really make sense because having that sight focused and going somewhere, you know. All these reverse cards here have meant something to me that they've never meant before, you know. And even though this is in reverse, it's in reverse and it's facing that way. It's facing into the future, and it's making me feel like I do have an eye on the future. Like I'm seeing things upside down and I'm seeing things differently, you know. I have to see things opposite of the way I have been seeing things, and that makes sense. Losing focus on others is a very positive thing in this story. Maybe what I feel like it is, that is a curse on me is seeing things backwards is the way I need to look at things, because seeing things directly dead on have not been what works. Let's get into this. Let's go with the card that got flipped over. We got this 10 of arrows in reverse. That number 10 is about completion, but it's in reverse. It's the word 10, you know, so it's in reverse. So it's about being incomplete, but it's also about not being tripped up anymore, you know. The 10 of arrows is a very vital card in this situation when it comes to being stabbed in the back and shit like that, but it's in reverse. So it's about not being tricked, not following traditions, the instructions, moving at your own pace, moving at your own beat, your own rhythm, and making things happen. And it's just like, as soon as I said that, I started feeling this music in my soul. Finding that fulfillment, because look, in this picture, look who has all the fulfillment. The little boy in the green, right? That's being shown by this old man what to do. And the old man ain't got on this, he got on rusty ass brown shit. You know what I'm saying? Like his life, like what he has is doo-doo. And the boy got all the fulfillment. And it's almost like the old man is trying to get him to aim wrong and trying to trip him. Look, it's like he's trying to trip him. You know, and the boy is not being tripped up. He's done playing the fool. He's done with that. I'm done with that. I'm done with this entity on my shoulders, on my back, trying to tell me how to aim and which way to aim, when all the while it's just constantly tripping me up. Yeah. So going back to this Damon Tarot deck, Amadeus. Focus on musical endeavors, including composing and musical inspiration. Composing and musical inspiration. That goes so much more deeper than my life needs composing and inspiration. And that's what it is, allegedly, that I need to focus on. Focus on those endeavors and composing correctly. Back to the Moonology Oracle card. Hold your vision. The fixed moon. There are two main possibilities with this card. The first is that you need to stand firm in whatever situation you're in. The second, very different interpretation, is that something is stuck. Something is stuck. The first is that you need to stand firm in whatever situation you're in. The second, very different interpretation, is that something is stuck. That could well be referring to the situation you're asking about. If that's the case, have a think about what you can do to grease the wheels so that events move forward. Are you being stubborn? If so, that's great, because if you really want things to change, there's a solution. Stop digging your heels in. Be the one to break the deadlock. With two interpretations for this card, it's up to you to decide what's going on and which meaning applies to you. This offers up a chance for some self-reflection. Yes, just say the word a lot and see how it feels. The additional meanings for this card is staying power, faith, or patience are needed. Someone needs to back down, avoid stagnation, and a personal or professional relationship will be enduring. It wasn't too bad. And I think that I might have got something out of that. It didn't really feel like a whole curse thing. It felt like instructions. It definitely felt like instructions. you know. And right now in this present, it's got a lot to do with my children, you know, doing what it is that I need to do for them, and taking that time to compose them, and coming back down that river to to tarot die, though not die literally, but to start all over again. And once I start all over again, I'll have what I need. And I think that a lot of my faith, a lot of my fulfillment and desire come through them. They're my power, you know, because they are what's important to me. And I think that maybe somewhere along the lines in my past life, I may have forgotten that. And I think that is what it is, a lot of what it is. And that's why it's so hard on me in this present life. It's more to it than that. It's a lot more to it than that. But I think that might have something to do with it. Anyway, I think I know what it is that I may need to do. Alan Tarot King the Prophet. This has been another Crown King Tarot presentation. Appreciate you guys for stepping in and sharing my reading with me. I know many of you is not going to read this long as, listen to this long as reading with me. But it's not for you, it's for me, you know. But so I appreciate checking in. All right. Love, blessings. What is it? Love, peace, light, and blessings. I said it so long. Shit.